Okay, I usually don't read from notes. So I want to thank everyone, all the thank yous that you've already heard, all the different partners. It's very important. The elected officials, I look around, I see some of the folks who was here when we started. Senator Hart was very helpful. Um, Liz Malia was here at the time. Shirley Owen Hicks was here. And you were still in the state. And so that was very important to have the assistance from those folks. I don't want keep naming all the folks that some of you've already named. The funders, I'll forget somebody if I start going down that line, but the Raleigh Foundation, Boston Foundation, Himes, all of those folks have been very helpful, and we appreciate that. So let's see if I can read my notes, right? I was waiting for you. So, about 14 years ago, Four Corner residents had a vision. It was a vision for better transit access. It was for access to jobs, to economic opportunities, better education, better shopping, and just for real equity, right? We used to sit on the overpass there at the corner of Erie Street and Washington Street, and we would watch the commuter rail come by, and people would be sitting there reading their newspapers, and they had 15 minutes to South Station from the point they passed through Four Corners. Then the 23 bus would come. No matter what time of the day, people would be standing up, jam-packed, right? And so we actually had the Secretary of the State and the head of the MBTA at the time, the general manager, who was Prince at the time, to come on the 23. And so it was great to see them standing up when they got to Four Corners. And the secretary said, this is a no-brainer. We just got to figure out how to make this work. And so that's how this thing got started. It was around transit, and it wasn't just the Four Corners vision, right? This vision had been going on for some time. There were folks like Reverend Bill Lesh who fought to keep this line open when they were going to close it. There were folks like Councilor Charles Yancey and others who actually saw that it was upgraded, and Morton Street and Uplands Corner were added to the line at that time. And actually, I was with DSNI back when Uplands Corner, no gray hair, when that happened. So, but the vision then got enhanced. The CDCs came and said, look, we want to work on this too because we understand that there's a concern about gentrification of the land. We bring in transit investment, that which usually follows, right? And so we were glad to have them become part of this effort. And Gail will talk more about that, so I won't go into that. But we're glad to have them become part of this effort and actually purchase the land, all right, to keep it out of the hands of speculators. So that was great. That was another part. And then we created another piece to that vision. And that was the Greenway Initiative, which we are now been working on with some of the same partners. I see Joan back there who's been helping coordinate that effort. And Joan, reach in that gentleman's back pocket right there in front of you, Mark Drayson. You know what we're looking for from the right? Let's get that part done. So that's where we are, right? So it started with a transit piece. Jobs, the mayor mentioned jobs, mentioned economic opportunities, and that's part of all of this access. It's really about regional equity, and it starts in local communities, right? And so, as you look at the Fairmount line, most of the folks who worked on that line actually came from the community. We actually worked with the MBTA to get jobs with people in the community. Doesn't solve the problem, right? Because we have to have the access to other communities, not just communities of color, because otherwise those folks only get part-time work. So we're hoping that, as we create transit access from Four Corners into the system, that people will be able to get jobs, but there will be jobs waiting for them in other parts of the state. So that's what we're hoping for here. And now we're at the new level of the vision. And we're again thanking the mayor and the city who were there at the start. Boston Transportation Department, Ralph Donesco, who's no longer there, was one of our original partners when we started this plan. But we think that they're coming again. bringing in investment. We thank the federal government. Remember a couple of years ago when y'all came up and said, look, this is something that we want to support. And I've been waiting ever since to see what that was going to be. So I'm glad to hear that there's some real resources. So now we have a new vision, and we are hoping that the city will be able to take us to a greater level and help us implement what the new vision is going to be. So thank you all for coming out here. And thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Urban Square Neighborhood Development, and also is in charge of the Fairmount Collaborative. And so I'd love for her to come up and share with you where we're going.
I'm a member of the Fairmount CDC Collaborative. I'd like to take charge. I have to say that Marvin said it all, so he kind of stole everything that I was going to say. But I'm going to go ahead and read from my notes and try to be brief, but you'll hear a lot of the same comments. I want to say thank you to all the folks in the room as well. I mean, the elected officials, the mayor, Senator Hart, Paul Grogan, Garfield Foundation, Orson Watson, Angela Brown from Hyams, and Beth Smith. I mean, this is all the result of a lot of work and a lot of support that we've all gotten over the years, so thank you. I want to say thank you, Mayor Menino, on behalf of the Fairmount CDC Collaborative. I thank you for your ongoing leadership on community development issues such as affordable housing development, business district and economic development, and the development of the transportation infrastructure that supports people's ability to access social and economic activities. We are looking forward to working with the BRA, D&D, and other parts of the city to implement the Fairmount Indigo Planning Initiative. This initiative, as everyone has said, is critical to envisioning and stimulating economic development within the neighborhoods along the Fairmount line. We are pleased that in undertaking this work, the city will draw upon the many plans, perspectives, and resources that have been developed for Fairmount by multiple partners over the last decade, and Marvin spoke to some of it. A little background on this to kind of further what Marvin was saying, thanks to his pioneering work, working closely with grassroots groups and residents, as well as with city and state elected officials. Around 2000, the Fairmount Indigo line, which goes straight through the heart of our neighborhoods, but didn't adequately serve the economic mobility needs of our residents, the line was put back on the map because of Marvin's work. So thank you. The work spearheaded by the Action Coalition, the Four Corners Action Coalition, resulted in the commitment to installing 4 new stops on the line. That work also provided the foundation for the 3 other initiatives that Marvin mentioned that have gotten in operation since 2004, and which have done significant planning and implementation work designed to improve the quality of life in our neighborhoods. The first is the Fairmount CDC Collaborative, which consists of 3 CDCs, Dorchester Bay, Economic Development Corp., Jim Dubois, Cobden Square, NDC, and Southwest Boston CDC, and Mike Filoni is here. Those CDCs are focused on developing mixed-use, transit-oriented urban villages within a half-mile radius of each of the 4 new and 2 existing stops on Fairmount in our neighborhoods. The CDCs have already developed hundreds of units of affordable housing along the line and have a pipeline of over 400 units of housing with thousands of square feet of ground floor commercial space slated for development within a half-mile radius of those stops over the next 3 years. The city has continued to be a critical partner supporting the CDCs to achieve the transit-oriented urban village vision that we have. We look forward to working with the city to implement activities related to transit-oriented development through the recently awarded HUD Community Challenge Grant. The second collective focus on development of the Fairmount line is the Fairmount Indigo Coalition. It's composed of the 3 CDCs, the Quincy Geneva New Vision Housing Corp., and I see Chris Thompson, he was here somewhere, there he is. Dudley Street Neighborhood Initiative, I'm sure some of our partners are here. Sorry, I don't recognize Harry, oh, I see Harry back there. And Project Right, I see Jorge back there. And of course the Greater Four Corners Action Coalition and Conservation Law Foundation. I don't know if anyone from there is here. The coalition has, for the past 7 years, focused on transit equity issues, including fair fares on Fairmount, evening and weekend service, and more environmentally sustainable technology on the line. The third collective, as Marvin mentioned, is the Fairmount Greenway Task Force, composed of all the previously mentioned parties, along with the Boston Natural Areas Network, and someone from BNN, I'm sure, is here, BNAN is here, as well as 02136, All Things Hyde Park, and I think I see Bob Vance back there. The task force is working to green the Fairmount corridor. The Greenway plan that has developed includes passive recreational spaces, bike paths, and links existing green amenities in our neighborhood to the Fairmount line. Residents in the community spent 2 years identifying and visualizing the uses of over 150 underutilized or vacant lots along the Fairmount line in developing this plan. All this work has been done with the input and engagement of hundreds of community residents, civic groups, and nonprofit agencies. Increasingly, we are working with other local nonprofits as well as state and national partners in the pursuit of this work. Our federal partners, HUD, DOT, and the EPA, have also supported our work by providing technical assistance resources for our transit-oriented development, housing development work, and environmental remediation resources to clean the brownfield sites in our neighborhood. The comprehensive nature of our work with multiple partners a few years ago also earned us the national recognition from the feds, where we were selected, the Fairmount Corridor, as one of only 5 national sustainable community pilot sites, and we're very proud of that. We continue to implement Fairmount work with the support of our state and regional partners through MAPC, as well as through the Mass Smart Growth Alliance. Local funders such as LIST, the Boston Foundation, Hyams, Garfield, and others have also been key to our work. So much work has been done, much remains to be done. We will fully engage with the BRA Fairmount Indigo Planning Initiative and will work closely with the city to facilitate the connections to this work to each of the collectives that I spoke about, with the goal of meeting the needs of low and moderate income, workforce-focused residents, the residents that we serve. So we're excited about the prospects of continuing to expand this work, working with new partners, and I agree, Mayor Menino, it's all about collaboration. And we thank you again for making this possible and for your tremendous support, leadership, and vision. Thank you.
As Mayor Menino clearly indicated, this is about collaboration and really the total engagement of the neighborhoods. And if you take a quick look, right, the engagement of the neighborhoods from Reedville to South Station, and that's every node going down the line, and the integration of those communities in so many ways. So for many of us, this is very exciting in many levels. And we want to also note that, you know, just as we know there are young folks here who have their school vacation week interrupted by coming to visit with us, but there's face painting in the back for the young people who are sitting here so that they'll have a way to entertain themselves. If we're boring you, go get your face painted. That's exciting. And we also want to thank some of our other partners who are here, who are the local business folks who have put a hand in making certain that this day is a very successful day. We want to thank Brothers Market, Jacobson Floral, the New Market Business Association, Sal's Pizza, Down Home Delivery and Catering, and just really they're all excited about the possibilities that this planning provides, and many of the city agencies. We also want to formally thank MAPC in the person of Mark Trayson, who has been a critical partner in this planning process. And we want to recognize the BRA and all the staff there who have actually been doing this work now for months, and we thank you for all the great work.